Hello, everybody. My name is Martin Beltran, and I would like to talk to you a little bit about the skills and tools uh, used during a family life education session. First, the instruction time. It, it needs to be structured since it is the time that the teacher used to direct the learning process. Um, it needs to be structured so it is the time is appropriate and the pace is appropriate and doesn't allow to go too far away from the subject, which sometimes happens during the discussion of a concept or a principle. Also, questions. Questions are very important because they motivate thinking, participation, and learning. Just it's important to stay away from close-ended questions. For example, questions that the participant will be able to answer with a simple yes or no. Um, Perhaps some of the questions that can be used can be the comparing questions. For example, how is blank different than blank, or maybe similar than blank, or elaborating. For example, you can ask, what ideas or details can you add to blank? Or um, can you give an example of blank? Those are questions that will require the participant to elaborate. Um, Also, it's important to call the participants by their names. So the use of name tags or maybe a card placement, a table placement that has their name is very useful in this situation when you are meeting with people that you have not met before. It's also important the, to have writing exercises because writing exercises also enhance participation and understanding. Um, and this part, handouts are very useful because provide immediate information, but also allows the participant to take something home, and that is very important. Writing, sorry, skill training is very important. If you're going to teach all these principles, you need to teach them how to use them and how to develop the skills to be able to use this information. You have to describe the skill, model the skill, practice the skill, provide reinforcement as they practice, and corrective feedback to make sure that they they develop the right skills. Because if the practice is not correct, these mistakes can end up fossilizing and making a bigger problem later on. It can become also a risk factor for the family. Um, Make sure that you clear any, the myth is important to teach about the correct information because again, just like practicing the wrong skills or practicing the skills uh, in the wrong way can end up with the myth. They can end up believing that the believing a myth that will end up in expectation built upon a false idea, and that again also can become a risk factor. Another point that is important to take in consideration is the audience, diverse audience. Um, Ethnic diversity is not the only kind of diversity. You have, as family life educators, we need to take in consideration the history of abuse in the family, maybe parental incompetence, also family mobility, um, poverty, belief systems. All these are are um, factors that can make your audience very diverse, and those need to be taken in consideration. I will also say that it will be very beneficial to learn about cultural differences. Or well, let's say, for example, if you are aware that your presentation will be in a community, or the audience will be mainly Latino, it will be good to get very familiar with how they learn, what are their values. All these things will help you to adapt or adjust your the delivery of your instruction to their needs, and make it more personable to them. Um, Also, it is important to take in consideration the challenges. Um, the primary challenge for a family life educator is to first create materials and use approaches that are inclusive for a het, het, how do you say, heterogeneous groups, but also beyond target with materials developed to adapt for homogeneous groups. So it's it can be a little complicated, but that will help in your education process a lot. And I other guidelines that are important to and very useful or helpful during an education session, and is like, of course, know your audience, know yourself, know your values, know um, your where you stand in each one of the concepts that you'll be teaching. Explore your limits. Sometimes it's very difficult for a family life educator to um, engage in educating a group that may have a lifestyle that is not the one that goes in accord with the values of the family life educator. It's important to take that in consideration also. And of course, once again, be flexible. Be flexible, because you don't know what's going to happen. Either they get bored, or they are confused, or simply you need to do something to engage the group in a different way. Thank you and have a nice day.